crime, cases, and backing the blue. Now, here are your hosts, Captain Ed Mehmet and Detective Kevin Schroeder.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cop Talk. I'm Kevin Schroeder, your host, and I will be your host today, and our co-host, Captain Ed Mehmet, is off today. I'm not sure what he's doing, but he told me he cannot make it today, so we'll have to look into that, why he's not here today. On that note, we have a great guest today. If you're a Yankee fan or not a Yankee fan, New York Yankee, David Wells. David, welcome to Cop Talk.
Kevin, I appreciate it. Good to be here.
So, besides you being a great ball player and a great pitcher and a very famous Yankee, probably the most famous Yankee in New York anyway, with the NYPD and the FDNY. With that said, you do so much for law enforcement. You're pro-cop, pro-military. We love what you do. But tell the audience, what have you been up to?
Since retirement, I just, pretty much been chilling. Went back home, started coaching high school. I went back to my high school and took over the program for about 9 years. Yeah, and then that got to be a little bit out of control. These parents are a pain in the ass. They could be, and then the kids became a little privilege for me instead of, going out there and trying to learn the game. And I had great coaches with me, so I started doing that, and then that kind of fell through, which kind of bummed me out a little bit. But other than that, I just hunt, golf, and fish, and just hang out. Right. Now that I live here in Florida, got the hell out of that California state. Yeah, all chaos going out there. So, just enjoying life. But now recouping from a shoulder replacement, a much needed one. I've been waiting. Wow. 12 years too late, but I finally got it done. It's been 3 months, and now I'm able to start swinging a club, just, like chipping and putting right now. Okay. Just to get that going. Because I need to get back on the course. I'm going nuts. I'm driving my wife crazy right now.
Yeah. Well, I got to get you up to New York to play with the PD. We have a lot of golf outings throughout the year with the PD, NYPD.
Oh, nice.
Love to have you up. But on that note, speaking about the NYPD, as you know, we just lost a brother, Jonathan Diller, police officer Jonathan Diller. He was murdered a couple of nights ago. Just wanted to touch on that. What's your thoughts on what's going on?
It's a tragedy, obviously, but since this knucklehead, I would say, that's took office, he is like, and all these DAs, that are going the opposite way, because I remember, my years in New York, even when I came up to the big leagues going to New York, that city was great. Giuliani did a good job.
Yep.
A lot of people did a great job. And, I felt really, really safe and secure in New York. But I hung out with you guys all the time, so I felt really safe. But,
exactly.
But to see these people out on the streets out there, I don't know how many convictions that they have. I mean, back in the good old days, you wouldn't see this kind of crap going on.
Right.
These guys would be put away, until, they either got rehabilitated or whatever it may be. But, you just can't go out and you're seeing more and more cops being killed and accosted in any way, shape, or form. You saw these two guys by these Venezuelan guys, this group of them, and nothing's happening to them. Right. And you know what? I'm just saying, thank God I'm older now. I'm in my 60s now. But if I was a cop, I'd be shooting the hell out of them.
Yeah,
get away from me.
I hear you.
You first, not me.
Yeah, unfortunately, the cops today have all these rules and regs they got to go by, with legislation and the city council, and it's like getting into the boxing ring, and the boxer could do whatever he wants to you, hit you whenever, wherever, below the belt, whatever. But you can only hit, in one area in the chest. Like, really, it's right. It's crazy. When it comes down time, when it's time to battle, you got to do what you got to do to survive and make sure everybody's safe and that perpetrator has cuffs on them.
Oh, 100%. But my thing is, Kevin, that you guys are getting no support from anybody, the higher ups, and it's just a bunch of eyewash that's going on. And from just a civilian on the outside seeing this, it just sickens me, and all my friends. It's the same thing. And I've done some interviews in the past. I'm like, I tell everybody, prepare yourself, get your CCW, start carrying, because you never know what's going to happen, especially with all these people coming in undocumented.
Right.
It's what was that movie? Escape from
New York
or whatever. It's just, I mean, it's like, it's going to be Gotham City. It already is, but it's going to be every city in the United States. And that's not right.
Right. It's, we're talking about New York now, but obviously it's happening, other places as well, Chicago and, other places, California, obviously, is a mess.
Yeah.
But, and the transit system here is horrible. What's going on in the transit system? People are afraid to take the to take the subway, New York City subway, which you've done many times. And
I used to go to the park every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved it.
Subway, I know. And, but exactly. But today cannot do that, unfortunately, and it's, the cops' hands are tied. And when they do make the arrest, then the DAs let them out the next day, and then there's a mentally disturbed issue going on too. People that need help, and there's no help out there for them. So, and then of course you have the migrant situation which is a mess, and it's a matter of time before they really start committing more and more crimes and getting away with it. So, it's going to get to a point where I think people are going to have to just say, hey, enough, like you just said, enough is enough, and we need to push back now. Enough is enough. We're done,
I totally agree 100%. And, and it's you've seen these 3 women in the last, week get punched in the face, or hit in the face by degenerates that, don't need to be on the street. And that's, and you know what, not every woman is helpless, but, a lot of women can't protect themselves. Some women can, some women can't. Right. And that's where are the people back, when I was there and all that, anyone ever put a hand on a woman, they're getting an ass whooping.
Oh yeah.
Straight up right there. But nobody ever intervenes anymore. They're all afraid. They're all scared, or they just don't care to see somebody getting hurt. And it's like that gentleman that on the subway that unfortunately, the guy got choked out, but he wasn't trying to kill him. He was just trying to subdue him. And now they're going, and Alvin Bragg's going after this guy and letting all these other knuckleheads go off. Alvin Bragg needs to be put in jail is what, from my point of view, he needs to be put in jail.
Yeah. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. And like you said, like even when I grew up on the west side of Manhattan, I mean, if someone, dissed a lady or pushed her or tried to rob her, guess what? That was the worst thing you could do. You would hope the cops came instead of the neighborhood people, getting you. Crazy. But I always say too, like back when you were playing for the Yankees, people had respect for the police. Today they don't. So if they don't respect an officer in uniform, how do you expect them to have respect for your mom, your dad, your daughter, your son walking down the street? If they're not going to be afraid of a cop and obey the law, guess what? They don't care about you then. All bets are off.
Oh, no doubt. And it's crazy, Kevin, because I remember one night I was at Dorian's on the Upper East Side. Graham Lloyd, Keith, who was the bartender, they all went outside because Keith went out and had a cigarette. Graham went out and had a cigarette. So I walked out there and I had a glass of water with me. And I was just sitting on the side street on 82nd.
Yep.
And there was 2 cops across the street, a guy and a lady. And she beelined it right over towards me and says, "What's in the glass?" And I go, "It's water." And she goes, "No, it's not." And I go, "Yes, it is. You want to try it?" And she goes, "No." She ended up writing me a ticket for having a glass of water. She thought it was vodka, which I wish it was at this point in time. But I got a ticket for a glass of water outside a bar, and that was back in that was in 98 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm just like, the times have changed. Yeah. Now you can beat the crap out of somebody right there, and and hey, it's going your way.
Yeah, smoke crack and weed, no problem. You know what I mean? But you have a glass of water, that's a problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, no doubt. That always sticks out. I still can't. I should have got her name. That still pisses me off to this day.
Did she know who you were? Did she know you're David Wells?
Well, the other guy did. And he goes, but she didn't care. She was just on a mission to get.
Okay, maybe she was probably a Met fan.
Probably. But you know what? She was doing her job. I understand it. But by then, I'm like, smell the damn water. You'll know what vodka and water smell like.
Yeah.
Do your own due diligence. Whatever. Yeah. That's all right.
No, but I mean, it's just crazy what's going on. I mean, Florida's got it. Florida's got it down. They got a great governor. The politics in Florida, it's the free state right now.
Sure.
So many people from New York, I'm sure you know many as well, moving to Florida, trying to get a place in Florida. You can't get a place in Florida unless you have, well over $1 million. It's crazy.
Well, this house is for sale that I'm in now because we're building around the corner. So
okay, we'll have to talk.
About a year and a half, this house will be for sale. It's a good neighborhood.
All right, we'll have to talk after the show. Absolutely. That sounds good because you can't find a place down there. Really,
no,
you can't.
Land is getting chewed up big time up there.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends are selling, their homes in Long Island and upstate, and they're going south. Carolinas, Florida.
Yeah, Tennessee, because there's no state tax in
Tennessee,
but you know what? It's smart. I mean, if you're smart and you're, what they just did to Donald Trump in New York, I feel bad for all these business people who, God forbid, something happens, and then all of a sudden, this Letitia James or whoever and that judge, that knucklehead judge, can just throw a whopping, let's make it $200 million. That's your thing. And if you're a guy like that, that's unheard of. But right. That's the kind of system that's going around. Yeah. But everyone's getting away. So what do they always say? In November, the ballot box will, if you want to live like this continuously, then vote that way. If not, you want change, then vote. A lot of people don't like Donald, but you know what? He's a knucklehead, but he's our knucklehead. To me, but you had money in your pocket. You had your country. We had a border. We had all that kind of stuff. Just because you don't like him as a person doesn't mean anything. Have good values in life, and so be it. And then he's got 4 more years. I'd rather deal 4 more years with Trump than this knucklehead. And then after that, then you know what? I think it would be great for somebody. Obviously, I would vote for DeSantis in a heartbeat because he's a great guy.
This National Foster Care Month, Marine Toys for Tots is providing hope to children who need it most. Staff Sergeant James Caldwell, who grew up in foster care himself, shares that while handing out gifts at a Toys for Tots distribution event, a little girl looked up at him, reached into her bag, pulled out a stuffed animal and said, "Someone needs to make sure you get a toy too." That simple gesture embodies the heart of Marine Toys for Tots, ensuring every child, including those in foster care, experiences the kindness that can transform their future. Visit toysfortots.org today.
Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit activeday.com to apply.
I agree, and I think we need Trump back in the office for sure, and hopefully he picks the right VP, and we could have 12 years of getting everything done, because it's going to take a long time to fix what's been broken.
Maybe you should be his VP.
No, I think you would get more votes, but thank you. I think you get a lot more votes than me,
I'll vote for you.
I'm just a retired detective, but thank you. But
no worries.
Speaking about that, I have a funny story. So, we go back way back. And one day, I don't know if you recall, but you called looking for me in my detective squad, and you said, they answered the phone, Detective so-and-so, how can I help you? And you said, I'm looking for Kevin Schroeder. And they said, oh, okay, who's calling? Because we screen all our calls. To this day, they screen all the calls. And you said David Wells. And my partner says, David Wells? Ha, ha, ha. I'm Nolan Ryan. He didn't believe it, and back and forth you guys went. But then I got on the telephone and you said, hey, Kev, when you get a chance, come over to the hotel. I have a box of balls I'll sign for you and the guys and girls in the NYPD in the Midtown North Precinct. And I came over and you signed like 24 balls. It was great. We get them out as donations. We get them out as fundraisers, Christmas gifts. It was awesome what you did, which no one asked you to do it. You took it upon yourself to do. And that's the kind of person you are. You're a great human being. Thank you so much for that.
I love doing that. And I remember, do you remember Marty Rodriguez?
Sure. Yeah. Marty worked with me. Yeah.
So Marty and I don't know if we were I was at the China Club. I think he was off duty and we were hanging out. I don't know if it was at the China Club or somewhere down there we were at.
Probably the China Club. Probably China Club.
Maybe at Veruca way down there in Soho. But we wanted to go to Dorian's. I had my car. He had his. We got on, I don't know, it was 3rd Avenue, and we were hauling butt. And I'm with a cop. He's got his siren for his car. And we took off, and we went down, and I cut him off, and we went down, 80 or 82nd, I think it was, to go to Dorian. We're going to Dorian's. Well, I got in front of him, and all of a sudden lights come on behind Marty. He's behind me, and there's cops behind him. And I pulled around. He's right in front. There was a parking spot right in front of Dorian's. I pulled in there, and I was just like, oh, boy, I'm trying to hide here. Marty goes around, and it was his boss and a car that pulled him over. And I swear, they were about ready. They were so pissed off at Marty.
Oh,
I thought he was going to jail. I thought a cop was going to pop. It was unbelievable. And I ran across the street, and I did the same thing. I'm like, the guy didn't know who I was at first. And I'm like, hey, no, I'm David Wells. I'm with Marty, blah, blah, blah. And I go, listen, don't do nothing to him. Yeah. I'll sign whatever you want to sign. I'll get the guys on the team to sign. He goes, you will? Next day, I kid you not, I got a 55-gallon trash bag full of stuff. I got Jeter. I got everybody to sign all this stuff.
Oh, great. Get Marty
so Marty wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. That's great.
I loved it.
It's good thing you didn't have. Good thing you didn't have a cup of water in your hand. You would have got a summons too.
Oh yeah, I would have drank it then.
All good. All good stories. A lot of good fun. Do you remember Timmy Gleason from the China Club? Timmy Gleason. Yeah, the manager. Yeah. Timmy's at the New York Athletic Club now. He's a manager over there.
Yeah, Timmy and then Jeff Lacoste.
Jeff. So when Jeff retired, he retired before I did, but I was a security company, and Jeff did a lot of work with me, for me, for me. And Jeff, we still stay in touch actually. So I'll text him after this show. Yeah, Jeff's a good friend. He
texts me probably. We keep in touch probably a dozen times a year, whether it's birthdays, holidays, whatever. Yeah. He always reaches out, and I love him because I always thought he was. He was a James Dean wannabe the way he always had his hair.
Oh my God!
I love that guy. He was awesome.
Yeah, Jeff. Oh God, Jeff. He was great. Jeff was great. He used to run a good show for us. Really, he really did. Yeah. And he's a funny guy. Everybody liked him, loved him. Good supervisor, good guy. Knows his great contacts. That's right. Jeff worked at the China Club with Timmy Gleason. That's right.
Yes, he did. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you can't leave out Jeff.
No, we had a lot of great times at China Club, the Uptown one, and then they moved, as you know, to 47th Street after being Uptown.
Sure. Yep.
That's
where I almost gotten a little tiffy with Axl Rose, because we were in there and Jeff gave me a table of VIP, and he goes, "Hey, Axl Rose is here, him and his bodyguard." And I'm like, yeah, let him sit down. So me and my buddy are there. Well, Axel sat down. We started talking a little bit. He was being cool. And then he asked me, he goes, "Hey, what do you think of my solo stuff?" I go, "Well, it's not GNR." But I go, "But it's not bad, but it's obviously GNR." He got pissed off at me.
Oh, wow.
He got knee deep in my butt. And I'm like, listen, dude, you're at my table. You can get your butt up and walk away if you want. And then his bodyguard said something. So Jeffrey came by, and I told Jeffrey, I said, "Get this chump out of here." Kicked his ass out. And I was just like, and then like maybe a half hour later, Axel came back over. I'm like, "I thought you got booted out." He goes, "Hey, I just want to apologize." I go, no, not a problem. That's when he had his hair all braided and all that stuff. Yeah. So I was just, no problem. Yeah. We went upstairs, we had a cigar, and it was great. it was peas and carrots after that.
I remember running into you one night at the Roseland Ballroom. The Rolling Stones were doing a show there, and I was there.
I remember. I just told the story today.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That was a good night. That was a good night. But at that show, you actually introduced me to, you were hanging out with Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
You had a Yankee cap
He was there,
on.
a whole lot of people.
Yeah. But yeah, so nice guy as well, Denzel, and Yankee fan, and pro law enforcement. Yeah. But yeah, everybody was there that night. Everybody was there that night. And I think after I was done with what I was doing with the Stones, I think you and I jumped in a cab, and I think we may have went to the China Club. I'm not sure.
Probably. No, but the thing was, because you were with Keith Richards,
right?
I come up, I go, "Kevin," said, "I've never asked you for anything, but you're going to introduce me to Keith Richards."
Yep.
Because I met Nick, I met Charlie, and I never met Keith, and I never met Ronnie.
Oh, you never met Ronnie either? Okay.
No, I never met Ronnie, but I got to meet Keith Richards, and he was a gem. He was so nice that night.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
No,
that was awesome.
Absolutely. I think that was at the SNL 40th birthday party. Maybe.
It was.
Yeah, I think that's
upstairs in the Red Room.
Right.
Up in the Red Room.
Right, exactly. You were with I forgot who you were with. I think you were with David Cohn, maybe.
David Cohn was there. Our wives were there.
Yeah, right. The family was there. Right, right. How's the family doing?
Good. My youngest just graduated from Michigan State, and he's in the music industry. So he studied music, so he wants to get into the music industry. So he's drumming every day, just practicing probably 46 hours a day, and doing that. And my other son, Brandon, he's an 8 to 4 worker every day, working for my buddy's metal company here in Florida. And so they're doing good. Nina's doing great. We're building a house, so she's busy doing that. I said, you design, do whatever you want. Just leave my man cave alone, and we're all right.
And that exactly.
So she's busy. Yes. So everyone's doing great. Thank you.
That's good stuff. So, David, if you were to become the New York City mayor tomorrow, what would you do? First day.
First day in, I would. Well, if I had the authority and I could, I would get rid of some DAs in a heartbeat.
Right.
I would get rid of everybody and clean that city up because Giuliani did it. He did a great job.
He did.
So if I'm mayor, I'm going to follow the footsteps of what Rudy did and clean that up, because you know what? Instead of, we're going to get more cops on the street. We're not going to defund them. We're going to fund them, because it's a joke. So, I mean, as much as how much I love New York.
Yes.
And New Yorkers, it's great. But what I see there, what's going on, it needs to change, and change in a heartbeat. So I'm given authority to arrest anybody, clean it up, so that way people can enjoy a once beautiful city. Now it's not, and I hate to say that, and I say that about my own state in California. But yeah, I would do the Giuliani effect and clean that place up ASAP.
Right. I agree. I totally agree. Now, swinging back to the Yankee days, do you remember the Yankee Stadium had a police detail, Yankee Stadium detail? And I'm sure there's some great stories. Can you tell some stories? I mean, we get headed anyway. So
no, it's all right. No, I loved it because you pitch once every 5 days, so the other 4 days, I would half the time I'd get kicked out of the dugout. Joe wouldn't want me in the dugout. He'd either go, "Why don't you go upstairs and bug George," or "Why don't you go to the bullpen?" So I would just mingle my way down the hallway, the tunnel, and then the cops say. So I go there and play cards with them. So I go play a few innings. They got the game on, so I go there and I play poker with them or whatever. But they had that cell in there, that jail cell, and that's where all the drunk people were and all that. So it became a routine for me to go down there, because they'd always have at least 3 or 4 people in that jail cell, and they were hammered. And I would talk so much smack. And then they would like, "Oh, I'll kick your ass," whatever. And I said, "Oh, you will. So if I come in there, you'll kick my ass." And I go, "Open the door." And they would open the door, and they're like, "No, I'm sorry. So, but once in a blue moon, you might get a big boy in there. You might want to think twice about it, especially how inebriated he was. But I loved going down there and playing cards with the boys, and then heckling the guys that got arrested for doing stupid crap, because that would have been me. If I wasn't a ball player, I'd be at the ballpark, probably getting arrested, being in that jail cell, and doing the same thing, and somebody talking crap on me. So but I loved being down there. But that's where I met a lot of the guys. So when they were off duty, hey, I'm at Dorian's every night. Come on up, let me buy you guys beers. You don't pay for anything, and we'll take care of it. And we'll have a good old time. Yeah,
Dorian's. Wow. Yeah, that's a blast from the past. Dorian's.
I still go there when I'm in town.
Did you ever go? Did you go to Fleming's back in those days? Fleming's or Avalanche? No.
I went to Blondie's. We went to Blondie's a lot.
Oh, on the west side, west side.
And then we went to Dorian's, and then when Noel had Veruca, so we were down there at Veruca, and then he had NA that was on, I think, 10th Avenue our 14th Avenue. He had his nightclub there. So we would just hang out there, and then we would just I would hit the pubs down there on First Avenue or Second Avenue. We'd hit all these little pubs. Those were fun. Right. You just hide in there and not get bothered by anybody.
Right. You going to be coming to New York anytime soon?
Probably not until maybe later on the year. I don't know about when Old Timers Day is. I'm not sure when that might be. If that's in September, which I think it's usually in. When is it? Usually,
it used to be, I thought, June or July, but lately, I think last year, was it September?
I think it was either August or September.
Yeah, it was late.
But yeah, so we're taking, if that's the case, then, but depends, because we're taking the boys over to Germany. We're going to go to Oktoberfest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they've never been, and I've been there. 94 strike. I went over to Germany for Oktoberfest. I had a blast.
Yeah,
drinking a lot of beer.
Oh, I'm sure that's a lot of fun.
I can't drink it like I used to, so it's all right. I'll have a couple, and then I'll monitor my kids, make sure they don't get out of control.
Yeah. Wow. That's great. You ever stay in touch with the guys from Hooters?
Oh yeah, Ed Drosky. Actually, my wife had lunch with him yesterday.
Oh, Ed's
her and the girls went golfing, and then they went to a restaurant, and Ed was there. So Ed, Bob, and all the guys, I still keep in touch with them. I see them all the time. So, it's great. You know what, Kevin? I still keep in touch with pretty much everybody from back in the day. I mean, still a lot of the same people in New York.
Right.
David Cohn texted me last night for the first time, and I don't know how long. That guy's like a recluse. But so I'm going to see him probably next week. He's doing the game Sunday, I think, in Texas.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be down in Miami for Tico Torres, the drummer for Bon Jovi.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to go do his charity event down there, and then I'm just going to stay an extra night and go hang out with Scumbag.
Okay.
That's right. That's what I call David Cohn. He's my scumbag buddy.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go hang out with the Scumbag, and and then we'll be scumbags again.
Yeah. Hold on. My producer has a question.
Kevin, an old New York story. He asked him, do you remember a New York institution, Lonnie Hanover?
Lonnie Hanover?
Yeah.
Lonnie Hanover.
Howard Stern crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I love doing Howard, but I remember one time I went on Howard, and I had my wife now. She was my girlfriend then, and Howard tried everything in the book to try to get her to put a bikini on and model in front of him. And I was hammering him left and right. Robin was laughing and doing all that. And my buddy, Jerry, who's here in town now, him and his brother got house arrest in Philly because for, so-called gambling and all that, being a bookie or whatever. And so out of all the people that listen, you would never know that. So he says, "Who's your buddy?" I go, "It's my buddy Jerry Walsh." And all of a sudden, somebody calls in. They go, "Jerry Walsh." He goes, "Didn't you get arrested for gambling and all that?" And I'm like, I'm doing all this to Howard. Howard's like, "Oh, hell no, we're going with this one." I was good. It was just on a whim, something like that happens. I'm like, who the hell have all these people? And I got my friend Jerry with me. Some guy calls in and said, "Didn't you get busted for gambling?" I was like, you got to be kidding me. It's crazy how the world works.
Oh, absolutely. No, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's crazy. But I'm glad to hear Florida's doing a lot better than New York is right now. It's just a mess. And I don't know, again, we got to start with, I guess, the presidential, race, and hopefully get Trump back in and see what happens with local politics here as well.
Kat, I just don't know what happened to New York. I really don't. How it's changed, because we went up there. I was there last year because I got a few times, but I was there for I got the Pinstripe of the Year award. So they had the welcome back dinner for the Yankees. Thank you. So I went back there. They had the dinner and all that. And I had some friends, had a bunch of friends come up. Plus, it was my 60th. So my wife threw me a surprise birthday party there in the city with a bunch of people. Lauren Michaels, David Bryan was there. I had a whole bunch of people there. And So it was a surprise. It was great, but it just wasn't the same city that I was accustomed to all those years from when I got called up in 1987 till last year. I was just like, what the hell happened to this city? And the people are they're not the same. They're different, and it's like, it's all these media outlets. No, but it's like Fox and then everybody else because everybody hates Fox. And all the MSNBC and all these other people, they're just, CNN and all that. They're just, they're whacked out of their mind. There's no common sense.
No.
I don't care if you're a Democrat, a Republican, or whatever. Just have common sense.
That's all.
And get along remember back in the good old days when we were younger, Walter Cronkite, all those guys, they all went for the same story.
Yeah.
Now, now nobody goes for one story.
Exactly.
It's either a Democratic story or a Republican story.
Right.
And each covers it. That's just like crazy.
3 sides to the story. It is crazy. And, like you said, back in our day, Republican, Democrat, that was just a letter. That was just, it didn't matter. We all, we joke around and we all got along, had a beer after we joked around about who's, presidential race or mayor's race, whatever. Today, it's like, oh, you can't say that. Oh, we can't talk about that. Oh, he's a racist. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm about as racist as far as you could throw me.
Yeah, crazy.
And that just cracks me up that you're right. You can't say anything or you're a racist.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Say anything or you're going to be chastised for the rest of your life.
Right. Or you're going to be right. Or they're going to cancel you. Cancel. I'll tell you what.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that. Exactly. Especially
good
me.
luck with that.
Exactly. Yeah, have fun with that.
You can't cancel.
No, have fun with that. But I mean, we all appreciate all the support you've given. Of course, our military as well. I know you're very big with the military. Did a friend of yours just have some come out with a military movie or something like that?
Dave Frigerio. And I met Dave at Blondie's because he used to work for Jill and Patty, who owned Blondie's. And so Dave left New York, went to L.A. and became a writer. And he just did this movie and with not Chris, but Liam Hemsworth and a few other people. It was a great movie. It was awesome. Oh. And then it's funny that I know because I can't think of it. Because when I get going, I forget it. But it was a great movie, and he's done a lot of stuff with a few other movies with Kurt Russell, with Lawrence Fishburne. So he's making waves for himself and all that. But
good.
I love good military movies.
Yeah,
they're great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But what advice would you give to the NYPD right now?
God, I don't know if they would want my advice because then they would probably be put in jail.
Oh, God.
But you know what? I would just say, you know what, guys, thank you for what you're doing. You know what? Just watch each other's back. That's just the only thing because you never know when someone is going to be that person and do that. Just stick together. It's obviously. I know a lot about teamwork, and that's what they need to do. And hopefully, they can overcome this BS what they're being put through because their hands are tied. And in a million years, I never thought law enforcement hands would be this tied, and they can't do anything. So just obviously, we just say, do your best, keep on keeping on, and you know what? Just go with your instincts. Because to me, if I'm put in a situation and I got a badge, I'm going to do what I think is right. And if I get fired for something I think I'm going to do right, then you know what? Fire me because there's other jobs out there.
You just remind me of something, talking about the China Club days. And so we had another friend too, Ron Duguay on. Sarah Palin was on with us. And the difference was.
She's great, isn't she?
Yeah, yes. But the difference is Ron Duguay was talking about Studio 54 days. And you know what I mean? Compared to China Club, Studio 54. Those are some good days too, I'm sure. But Dave, I'd like to thank you for being our guest today. The most popular and famous New York Yankee, as far as everyone's concerned here in New York. And you did a great job. You pitched of course, you're in the history books, perfect game.
Perfect game, yeah.
And what was the date on that again? What was the date on that? The perfect game.
May 17th.
May 17th. Wow. Perfect game.
I gave myself an early birthday present because I'm May 20th on my birthday. So
Awesome.
which was
awesome.
I tell you what, I never thought in a million years I would walk out of a restaurant with probably 3-4 cases of Cristal and Dom Perignon. You know, I never thought, because I don't drink. I'm not a big champagne guy, and friends of ours took us to Ben Benson's.
Oh, okay.
When that was,
yeah.
And we walked in there on my birthday, you know, because we had a day game. So we went, and I was just like, "You got to be kidding me!" Standing ovation, which was cool. I loved it.
Sure.
And then everybody in that place bought me a damn bottle of Cristal or Dom.
Wow.
I can't take this home. And I go, my buddy's like, "Well, I'll take it." I'm like, "Well, no." And then my wife's like, "No, we'll give, you can have a case of this and we're taking the rest." So we had to have it shipped to Florida. And and I still have bottles from that day, from that night. I still have Dom Perignon bottles. Now I open them up and do mimosas. Because I'm not so people are like, "What are you doing?" I go, it's champagne. I'll do a mimosa with anything.
That's a nice mimosa, you know, Dom Perignon mimosa. Very nice. You know,
no
nice.
doubt. But yeah, so those were the good old days. I mean, I wish we could bring those back.
I know.
Obviously, we got to find another way to bring back some memories.
We will. You know, it's got to come back. Can't get any worse, so it has to come back. You know, cannot get any worse. But
no doubt.
David Wells, everyone. I'd like to thank our guest, David Wells from New York Yankees. And thanks again always for your support, David. So everyone out there, if you like what you hear, please subscribe. You can follow us on Cop Talk. You can follow us on Twitter at Cop Talk WABC. That's at Cop Talk WABC. Until next time, God bless America. God bless the NYPD. And God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, and your viewers. Support your local NYPD, please.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you.
You got it.
Hello, folks. Larry Kudlow here. Pay attention, because China is leading the largest anti-American alliance since World War II. One that's already dumped U.S. bonds, grabbed 43 million acres of our farmland, and is plotting to dethrone the dollar. That's why IRA and 401k savers are protecting their savings with gold. Please go to freegoldguide.com/Kudlow or just call 800-621-3908 for your free gold guide on how to protect your wealth with gold 100% tax-free.